Go.
From the burning mesas of the Arizona desert to the slot machine-clad boardwalks of New Jersey, it's Imaginarium with Scott and Todd. I'm Scott Colbert.
And I'm the horror nerd, Todd Staruch.
And this week we are talking... Well, what are we talking about this week?
I was trying to figure out what to call it, and I think we're going to call it the self-entitlement of horror and sci-fi fans. How about that? Does that work?
Perfect. I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Well, and I asked you that because I wasn't quite sure how to title it myself. So I figured, well, I'll just put you on the spot since it was your topic.
Fantastic.
Because that's the kind of a guy I am.
And I appreciate that, Scott. I really do.
Well, and this topic was brought up by a post that you had written about The Walking Dead, so I'll let you talk about that.
Right. Well, as everyone knows, or if you don't know, too fucking bad. It's been almost a week since the episode aired, and I'm not in the mood to remotely care about spoilers or anything like that. But as everyone knows by now, the season finale of The Walking Dead ended with a cliffhanger. The entire season had led up to the appearance of Negan, which is one of the central villains in the comics, and people had been looking forward to it. And there's a pivotal moment in the comics where Negan kills one of our Rick's group. So everyone was speculating for weeks. So who will it be? Who will it be? And then lo and behold, we finally get to see Negan, who was awesome, by the way. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was awesome. But we don't actually get to see who he kills. All of a sudden it switches to a character point of view. We see Negan, and then we see the victim's point of view, and we see blood trickle down the camera, and then we cut to black. Well, within 0.47 seconds, and I measured that exactly, within 0.47 seconds of that happening, my fucking phone lit up with people in absolute apoplexy over the fact that we didn't find out who got killed and that it ended in a cliffhanger. Holy shit, talk about first world problems. Like, holy shit. Yeah. I'm on a tear here, Scott. Buckle up, everybody. But holy shit, it ended in a cliffhanger. That's the first fucking time a show ever ended a season on a cliffhanger. Who was the evil Nazi bastard that thought that up? I just couldn't believe the hate being directed at the show because they ended it on a cliffhanger. Cliffhangers have been a TV staple since the medium was invented, and they go back to the old movie serials of the 30s and 40s. It's a way to get you back in the theater the next time. So it was just unbelievable, and it was the usual, I'm never watching this show again. They fucking suck. The writers are idiots. Fuck this show. And now, apparently there's a petition that people are signing to demand that AMC reveal the name of who got killed. Are you fucking serious? Like, not that AMC is going to go, hey, Ted, people are really pissed about this. You think we should go ahead and publish, what it was? I'm sure that this petition is going to go somewhere. What are you building another addition on the house there, Scott?
No.
Okay. Or chopping up another body. It's one or the other.
Well, it was the body one. Yeah.
Nice. But okay, that's the end of my rant. It's just unbelievable, like this sense of self-entitlement and instant gratification. And when you question people on it, they go with it's always the same. They fall back on, but I'm entitled to my opinion. Shut the fuck up with your opinion already. Like, We know you're entitled to your oh so precious opinion, and I'm entitled to not give a fuck about said opinion. You know?
Well,
Oh,
exactly.
okay, I'm done for now.
That, that was quite the epic rant.
Yes.
And I had not heard about the petition. And that is the most ridiculous fucking thing I have ever heard in my entire life. Well, no, I've heard a lot more ridiculous things, but as of 5 minutes and 34 seconds ago, that was the most ridiculous thing that I've heard today. I remember, and as you said, cliffhangers are nothing new. They date way back to the serials back in the 30s and 40s with the Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and all that. And even the TV shows had, the early TV shows had cliffhangers. They wanted people to come back. People fucking forget TV is a business. It's not a goddamn nonprofit agency.
Right.
They need to make money. And if you want to see The Walking Dead, then you're just going to have to tune in every season. And the way they ensure that is a cliffhanger. And then I've heard, well, they did that in season 4 and season 3 and season 2. Well, yeah, you know what? Then that's probably the way the show goes. If they've done it 2 or 3 or 4 times, hey, guess what? They're probably going to do it again because that's called a fucking pattern. Okay?
Yeah. And Scott, you just hit on something where when I read this the first time and then the second time and then the 97th time, I giggled like a mental patient when people were saying, this is just a blatant money grab by AMC. No fucking shit, genius. Like, you're right. They're in business to make money. And if you want quality episodes with great makeups and awesome zombies and, that costs money. It's a cash grab. No shit.
Yeah, imagine that. A TV station wanting to make money. What the fuck?
The horror of it all. No, Scott, you and I, we're just idiots. We forgot that movies and TV exist to service the fans in their narrow thinking and to deliver exactly what's in the source material with no deviations whatsoever. Come on, Scott. We need to get with the program here.
We do, but you know what? I think we're just too old and settled in our ways to give a fuck to do that.
I think so. I'm looking around the house right now, and I appear to be all out of fucks to give.
Yeah, I gave out my last one in 1974, I think.
Nice. Nice.
But that brings up something interesting is the last cliffhanger that I really remember having a kind of a visceral reaction to was probably the ending of season 1 of Twin Peaks.
Yes.
And people went, oh no, we have to wait until the show starts again. Nobody wrote a fucking petition to tell us who killed Laura Palmer. There wasn't really a lot online at the time. It was mostly like Prodigy and AOL and stuff.
Right.
But nobody got up in arms. Nobody was rampaging through the streets and writing awful letters to the editor or the movie critic of the local newspaper. People just, we'll just have to wait. Well, imagine that. Why don't you just go and have a fucking life until the show starts again? How about that?
Yeah. Open your door. That thing you see out there is called outside. Go and experience it.
That yellow thing, that's the sun.
The sun.
Now, you don't want to stay in it too long because that pasty white skin that you managed to accumulate living in the basement for so many years, that can be a little bit sensitive. So be careful. But go outside. And that's fresh air. That's not Dorito farts that you smell. you know?
Well, for me, the big one, of course, too, was Who Shot JR. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that is a famous one. We watched Dallas in my house because my grandmother and my mother loved the show, and
Yeah.
eventually I got into it too. J.R. Ewing is one of the great TV villains of all time, and boom, he gets shot, and you got to wait the entire summer, you know. And again, I don't recall anybody saying, "Fuck that show! I am never watching it again. I can't believe they did that." Instead, it provoked discussion among intelligent people. Well, who do you think it was? You know, was it Sue
Yeah.
Ellen? Like, was it his wife? Was it, you know, who could it have been? You know?
Yeah. And instead, what we get is people arguing. Well, it was Glenn. No, it was so and so. Or no, it was so and so. And then you get name calling because somebody doesn't agree with who you think got killed.
You know, it's ridiculous. I think having a discussion about it, like, hey, you know, people have asked me, hey, Todd, do you think they're going to follow the comics? What do you think they're going to do? That there's nothing wrong with. I mean, you know, I talk about The Walking Dead all the time with fellow fans. We talk about the differences with the comics, you know, and what do you think they're going to do with this character? That's, you know, thoughtful discussion. But this people getting into arguments, you know, oh my God, it's a TV show, people. I mean, honestly.
What do you think has brought that on? Because I have kind of an idea, but I'm curious to hear what you think. Why is there such a change in how people react to cliffhangers now?
Well, I think it's simply because we really do live in the era of instant gratification and where everything is immediately available all the time. And a friend of mine, a Facebook friend of mine, brought up a point that I had not thought of, and she said, and she also blames binge watching. You know, when networks now release an entire season of a show all at the same time, and people stay up all night and watch all 13 episodes, well, okay, you just consumed all of that in one day. You know, you don't have to wait till the next week. Now, granted, they could still end a season with a cliffhanger, but we're used to everything being available all the time. When Dallas was on, there was no choice. You had to wait till next week,
Yep.
and you had to wait till the next season, and you just accepted that. Like today, people can't deal with that. Like, why? Wait, what? I have to wait for something? Are you fucking kidding me? Back then, we simply had no choice, so we accepted it. Summer was reruns. That was it, you know, and we waited for September for our favorite shows to start up again. No one has that kind of patience today, and
No,
that's my take on it.
your Facebook friend hit the nail on the head for me, and it's exactly what I was thinking was binge watching. And people might say, well, you're talking about Dallas, and that was 30 years ago, or Twin Peaks, you know, that was 25 years ago. Well, actually, I think maybe then Dallas is maybe 40 years ago or something. Anyway, we're talking decades in the
Yeah,
past. Yeah, if you want to talk about something a little bit more contemporary, how about The Simpsons when Mr. Burns got shot?
right. Good one.
You know, and that's within the last, I guess, 10, 15 years or so. I forget what season that happened. But,
Yeah, I don't,
you know, that was a fairly recent one. And we did start to have internet then, and people talked about it online, and people talked about it, you know, in person. And there was none of this, oh shit, I have to wait until next season to find out who shot Mr. Burns, because that was an obvious homage to Dallas,
right.
you
Absolutely.
know. And it's the binge watching, and it's funny because when I was watching the Making of a Murderer for the Jailbait show, I after I finished that, I wanted something else to watch, and so I started watching House of Cards.
Okay.
And you know, I know I'm late to that show because everybody's been on that bandwagon for a few years now, but I don't always watch Netflix. I don't always have my subscription active for it, but I had it active, and I figured, well, I'm going to start watching it. And I think I watched the first season in about a day and a half. It hooked me immediately, and I've been watching it since then. I've kind of moderated on it because I just can't sit and watch episode after episode like I probably could have 15 or 20 years ago had it been available. I just can't do that. I can't look at a screen that long anymore. I understand the wanting to know, and it's almost like an addiction.
Yeah.
You've run out of your fix. You just drank the last beer and the liquor store is closed, and god damn it, you need that fix. You want it right now, and nothing else is going to do. And so that's kind of the mentality that I see with people in the cliffhangers today.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. And again, I guess, and then to the fact that people look, I'm not gonna lie, where I was, after weeks of speculation, I was looking forward to seeing who it would be. And when, they cut to black, I was like, oh man, but I was like, all right, Game of Thrones starts in a couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to move on with my life, and I'll just wait for October, and we'll find out who it was. Like, I'm like, all right. I just moved on to the next thing.
And like I said, they had done it before, so what made people think they weren't going to do it again?
Another problem too, and a lot of people were complaining, oh, after all that hype. I'm like, whoa, easy there, cowboy. The fans are their own worst enemy. It's the fans that build up the hype for every season premiere and every season finale. The fans work themselves up into a frenzy. Oh, I'll bet you this season finale is going to be epic. I'll bet you the mid-season premiere is going to be totally crazy. The fans whip themselves up. And when it doesn't live up to their expectations, they're like, oh, see, this show fucking sucks. No. AMC never said they were going to show Negan kill somebody. AMC, all they said was, here next week, and they show Jeffrey D. Morgan from the back, and they show the bat with the barbed wire. And that's it. They never said anything about Negan killing anybody. The fans do it to themselves, and then they cry about it later.
Yeah, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Exactly.
And I think there's a part of them that actually gets excited by that because then they get to bitch about it.
Well, that's another thing entirely, the hate watching of certain shows. Like, I just don't understand. There are people that bitch about The Walking Dead week after week, season after season, yet they still know everything that happens in every episode. Well, why would the fuck would you invest your time in a show you claim to not like?
Well, exactly. I watched the first season of The Walking Dead, and I really liked the first season. I didn't like the second season as much, so I kind of lost interest in watching it. And I haven't watched it since I stopped watching the second season. And I have nothing against the show. I just lost interest in it.
There you go.
And here's the thing. And this is something that I put towards movies and shows and books. If I don't like something within the first few minutes of it or the first chapter or two, I'm not going to watch the whole thing. And if a series can't hook me and keep me wanting to come back, I've got plenty of other shows to choose from. And that doesn't make the show bad. It just makes it not something that I'm interested in watching. People just put themselves through misery for no reason whatsoever. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I think people. I'm always fascinated. I post about things about human behavior that fascinate me all the time. I think there are a segment of the population that just likes being contrarian. So anytime anything is wildly popular, they will automatically take the opposite view just so they can, say something negative, because let's face it, negativity sells.
Yeah.
If you say, "Oh, I'm a Walking Dead fan," people will say, "Yeah, you and everybody else." But if you slam the show, you will get people falling in line, like, "Right on, man. I never understood the appeal of that show." Well,
Yeah.
okay, like really are some people out there that seem to be defined by what they don't like. It's the "I don't give a shit about the Super Bowl" crowd. Okay, all right. That why even mention that?
Well, yeah.
I don't like NASCAR. I don't get it. I'll never understand it. But as a result, I don't talk about it and I don't watch it. I feel no need to tell anybody that I don't like NASCAR until just this second.
Well, yeah. And if somebody posts something about how much they like NASCAR, I don't feel the need to post, something like, "What, are you retarded? How could you
Yeah,
like that?"
I just keep scrolling.
Yeah, well, exactly, because people like what they're going to like, and that doesn't mean I have to like it. It doesn't mean that you even have to respect their opinion for liking something. I just acknowledge, well, hey, they like it, so whatever floats their boat.
There's got to be something to it because NASCAR rakes in billions of dollars, so there's got to be something to it. It's just not for me. Okay, there we go.
Somebody made that comment about Batman versus Superman, and that it had made so much, X amount of money over its opening weekend. And my thought was, well, millions of people have voted for Donald Trump in the primaries. That doesn't mean that he's a good pick. And millions of people may have gone to see Batman vs. Superman. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good movie. It doesn't even mean necessarily that NASCAR is that interesting to watch. But for the people who like it, they like it. So more power to them. I'm sure people look at the horror movies and the TV shows that I watch and probably think the same goddamn thing about me.
Exactly, man. There are things that I like that many people do not, and vice versa. For me, it makes things more interesting. You bring up Batman versus Superman. We talked about it on our recent show. I'm still talking about it with people. I have friends that loved it. I personally don't see how, but okay. If they went to the theater and came out saying, "Wow, that was a goddamn great movie," okay, I genuinely am happy that they enjoyed it and they feel they got their money's worth. Why does anyone care? I don't get it.
You know what's funny is
comedy.
Well, hopefully sometimes. when the new Star Wars movie came out, everybody was saying it was the best Star Wars movie. It was excellent. I mean, they were doing everything they could to praise it. Now, a few months later, with the DVD out or coming out, I'm starting to hear, well, you know what? That kind of sucked. From the same people who were praising it 6 months ago. They're not, well, that kind of sucked.
Funny, isn't it?
I just don't understand that. That's probably why I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Well, and part of it, we've talked about this too, like the internet, social media has given everyone a voice. Everyone's a critic now. And, I posted my review of Batman versus Superman. And again, I feel the need to say this, and I don't know why. People point out the irony to me all the time that I, criticize people for when they whine about "I'm entitled to my opinion." And people love to point out to me, "Oh, well, you post your opinions all the time." You're right. There are some people who, for whatever reason, have told me that they like my reviews and they like the way I write. So I share my thoughts. I certainly don't expect that anyone should remotely care about what I have to say. I hope that they do. I hope they go to our podcast. I hope they go to my website. But I don't expect anyone to agree or disagree with my opinion of Batman versus Superman. I wrote about it, and that's that. But people seem to love to point out that irony to me, and a few people have asked me, Todd, what gives you the right to review movies? Uh, I didn't know it was a right to be given or taken away. I'm just writing. I'm writing down words. I'm not sure I get it, but whatever. My point being, like, everyone, social media now, everyone, including you, including myself, we have a voice now that is instantly reachable by millions of people.
Yep.
You know, and everybody, is taking advantage of that. Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
I don't see it getting any better. In fact, I probably see it getting even worse as more TV shows become available season by season. It almost makes me just want to get off of the internet and just live a life like I used to have, but before everything was online.
Yeah. Well, I realize that I'm a Facebook junkie, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy posting about things that interest me. I enjoy reading what my friends post. I freely admit that I probably spend way too much time on it than I should. But I also, I have a pretty active life outside of it. So everyone needs to find that balance for themselves, you know?
Well, yeah, exactly. And I probably spend a little bit too much time on Facebook myself. But on the other hand, I've managed to meet a lot of people that way who I never would have met before, like you and Jerry and Tom, Jeremiah, everybody, in that little group I've met online. Never would have had the chance to do that if internet wasn't there or Facebook wasn't there. And, Facebook is one of those things very much like the cliffhangers. People love to bitch about Facebook and love to talk about how much they hate it, but they're still on it.
Yeah, I have managed through liberal use of the unfollow and unfriend options to tailor my news feed so that it doesn't piss me off quite as much as it used to.
Yeah.
And even using the hide post option, Facebook over time with their algorithm will learn what I want to see and what I don't. So, I there are times when things drive me crazy, I'm aware of that. But for the most part, I get enjoyment out of it. I do enjoy reading, other people's thoughts. Believe it or not, like, people did write things about Batman versus Superman that did make me think a little bit and say, oh, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. So maybe that's a good thing.
I think in the long run, it is a good thing. Anytime you can read something or see something that makes you think and makes you use your brain, even if it's just for a few seconds, I can't see that as a bad thing at all. Because I think we probably don't utilize our brains nearly as much as we should anymore. Because we rely on everybody else to do stuff for us. A perfect example of that, on a post I saw last night in one of the political groups, somebody said, "Does anybody know what?" And I can't remember the question exactly, but I think it had something. It was something like what the odds were for the primary in New York and who was leading in the primary. And I thought, if you Googled that, you could have found the answer in 5 seconds rather than taking the time to type that out and then waiting for an answer so somebody else can do it for you.
Exactly. Please, I see those all the time. My favorite one, Scott, and it's interesting how we got onto this course. My favorite ones. I have such and such symptoms. Does anybody know, or can anybody think of what might be wrong with me? I know what's wrong with you. You're fucking stupid. You should go to the goddamn doctor. Like, or legal questions. Like, I've got friends who are lawyers on Facebook, but I wouldn't solicit actual legal advice from them on social media, you know? But the medical ones really make me mental. Like, people will post, pictures of an injury. Should I go to the doctor? Nah, that doesn't look infected at all. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I'm bleeding from my asshole. What should I do?
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, what should I do?
Stick a tampon up your ass, you'll be fine, okay?
Yeah, like, those are the best. Thank God everyone on Facebook has a medical degree, so those people will be fine.
Well, that's just it. Well, and that's the other thing. People are talking about certain campaigns and how the campaign managers aren't doing their jobs because so-and-so lost this primary or so-and-so lost that primary, and they're not spending enough money in this state. And I'm thinking, and I actually said this to somebody. I said, how many successful political campaigns have you managed?
Right.
I think the people who are running so-and-so's campaign pretty much know what they're doing. They've done this before. Okay? Everybody is a armchair quarterback now. As you said, everybody's a doctor, a lawyer, an auto mechanic. They're everything. Everybody has a degree in everything. If I want medical advice, I'm going to go to WebMD.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, listen, if you go to WebMD, you already have cancer. That's just, that's the diagnosis for everything.
It's funny. I really actually, I've had to stop going to WebMD, and I joke about that, but there was a point where I was doing that at certain points because I didn't have health insurance, and I didn't really know if I needed to go to the doctor if these symptoms that I had were that bad. So I'd go on WebMD, and holy shit, I needed to get myself to an emergency room, according to them.
Yeah.
Just a hangnail. But it could be bone cancer.
Right.
Well, I'll flip a coin on that one then. People just rely too much on other people to satisfy their needs rather than doing it themselves.
Instant gratification, man. It's all about that. Instant gratification.
Exactly. And it all ties back into the original topic of the show because everything is all interconnected. If somebody reacts a certain way to a cliffhanger, chances are pretty good how they're going to react to similar situations in other parts of their life or in other aspects of life in general.
Exactly. I see people complain, about just about anything, when it comes to not getting their way or not getting it as quickly as they would like. Getting back to our original topic for a quick second, I not just like the being pissed off about the cliffhanger. It's just when fans have expectations of how a show should be written or how closely it should follow the comic. And again, look, I not to be like too harsh, but yes, it's okay, like, to say, well, I don't like the fact that they deviated from the comic. And there are people who prefer, for example, the sort of lighter, brighter Christopher Reeve Superman over the darker, Man of Steel Superman. And that's fine. That's just preference. That's like saying I like vanilla ice cream instead of chocolate. Mm-hmm. But it's oh my God, I can't believe they should have done this. Well, this is why you're not a TV show writer.
Yep, exactly.
And I had a great conversation with someone once, and he said, just once, I would like to take one of these people and hand them a comic book and say, here, I want you to write this and film it exactly the way it is in the comic book and watch how much it sucks.
Yeah, I remember when the Lord of the Rings came out and people complained about the differences between the movie and the book. I admit, when I saw the Lord of the Rings, I was kind of upset that Tom Bombadil didn't make it into the movie. I understood why. I understood you have to adapt it to the medium. A book is not going to give you this. You're not going to have the same reaction to a book that you're going to have to a movie or to a TV show. They're all different mediums. You take them in differently, and you react to them differently. And I think people just don't either understand that or just choose to ignore it.
I agree. I think we mentioned the Lord of the Rings once on a previous show, and it is one of my favorite books of all time. I have a beautiful deluxe leather-bound edition that my ex-wife gave me once for my birthday. I love it. I've read it cover to cover twice with all the appendices and poems and everything. The changes in the show, in the movie rather, did not influence my love of the book one iota. For me, they stand on their own, and that's it. And when people say, "Oh, they ruined the book," well, no, maybe they didn't do the book justice in your eyes, but how can they ruin the book? Did they burn all the copies? Go back and read the book. There are a lot of horrible, book to movie adaptations. Like half of the Stephen King adaptations suck out loud, but I still have all the books and I still love them.
And in fact, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was just thinking of something that Stephen King had said long ago, why he wasn't overly concerned about the amount of bad adaptations of his work, and his reaction was, the books are still there,
right?
They'll be there long after the movies. So the source material is there. Why should I care about what somebody did to pick one that sucked? There's plenty of them. Graveyard Shift, for example.
That's a good example.
And he's right. The original source material is there, and it's something that you've said many, many times, like with remakes for the Ghostbusters remake or any other remake. Oh, it fucked up my childhood. Well, then you probably didn't have a very good childhood to begin with, if something like that, allows you to think that it's going to be fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, if it's so easy to have your childhood ruined, well, then I don't know what to say to you.
Then they have far more issues than just a remake. So what do we do about it?
Nothing. Like, fans are gonna overreact. We do live in an era of social media and instant information and instant gratification. And that's just how it is. I mean, the people who truly care, like the true Walking Dead fans, are not going anywhere. And we just, we just avoid the people that make us crazy. I freely admit, you hear it here, folks, I am my own worst enemy, and I let people get to me way more than I should. I wish I could turn that switch off, but I can't, because I feel that the fans do themselves and everyone else a disservice. It's counterproductive what they do. A friend of mine, and I'm going to give him credit, Joe Ripple, who runs Scares That Care, had a great post on Facebook just about an hour ago. And I'm going to quote it directly. Wait, let me get this straight. 1, people are upset that there's another strong female lead in the new Star Wars Rogue One. 2, people are petitioning to have AMC reveal the character that was killed on The Walking Dead. No wonder Hollywood only wants to do remakes. Get a grip on your self-entitlement. Boom. Right there. That's it in a nutshell. Right there.
Perfect. He did. He nailed that.
Yeah. Well said, Joe. Well said.
He said in about 3 sentences what we've been saying for 40 minutes now.
I know, right?
We should just had him say that, and then boom, that's the end of the show for this week.
Yeah,
it'll be a 3-minute show.
Yeah. The editing would have at least been really easy.
Yeah, for a change.
He
is absolutely right about that. Maybe it's just the older I get, the less tolerance I have for it. Because I know if I was the age that most of these people, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. Uh, I was going to make a judgment call about millennials and their self entitlement, but most of, or a lot of the comments that I've seen specifically about The Walking Dead are people in our age bracket, either a few years younger or a few years older. So it's not necessarily the millennials that are bitching about it, but people our age who should know better.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And again, I think what really couches me, what really sticks in my craw the most, is that they couch it under the guise of expressing an opinion. And there's a difference. There's a difference between, as you said, you started out watching The Walking Dead, and it sort of just fell out of favor with you, and you didn't like it anymore. Okay, that's your opinion. I have another friend who felt that it had become very repetitive. The group finds a new place, they get settled in, the place gets compromised either through other humans or through zombies. They go to another place and the same thing happens.
Yeah.
Okay, that's at least a valid criticism. You feel the show has gotten repetitive. All right. That's cool. Like, that is constructive criticism, as opposed to how dare you end it on a cliffhanger. There's a big difference between voicing an informed, like you invoke Harlan Ellison all the time,
Yeah.
but there's a difference between just blathering on and having an informed opinion.
I'm not going to say something sucked if I haven't seen it, and I'm certainly not going to broach an opinion about the season finale of Walking Dead, not only because I haven't seen the finale, but I haven't seen the last 4 seasons either. So, not only have I not seen it, I don't even have any context to put the final, the season finale into, even if I had seen it. So then I don't say anything, and I just kind of, I'll read the comments, and that'll be about it.
Yeah, which is fine. Again, and there are people, like, just to go back to Batman versus Superman for a quick second, there are people that were commenting on it that I knew for a fact had not seen it. And they were just taking sharing some negative review and saying, well, this just proves what I, expected all along. Wait, what? You expected the movie to suck. Some stranger thinks it sucks, and that confirms your original expectation? Wow. Wow. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know what to do with that information. I really don't.
That's a special kind of special.
Yes, it is.
I've seen that. So, that's not unusual. And I think part of it is people just want to be involved. They want to be noticed. They want to be part of the water cooler. Back, in the Who Shot JR days, if you missed something and you're standing at the water cooler, you're not going to try and pretend you saw it, because, you're just going to look like an idiot. But for some reason, that it's okay to do that online. It's okay to be an idiot online.
Oh, well, yeah, clearly, and look, everyone's entitled to be stupid, but, some people abuse the privilege.
Well,
And
exactly.
then there's the ones that publicly, like, display it online. And I'm grateful, because it's a source of comedy material for us.
Well, absolutely. And, fair is fair. I have done that. And everything that we've talked about, I've probably done at some point in my life. So I want to be clear on that. Looking down on other people, well, I guess I am kind of, but I've done it myself. And I've become self-aware enough, kind of like Hal, I suppose, self-aware enough to acknowledge the behavior and see it and point it out and saying, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You can if you want to, but I'm just going to point and laugh at you.
Oh, please. I belittle and laugh at people all the time. What's one of the many reasons I'm going to hell in every religion?
Well, and that's what your ranting and raving page is good for.
Exactly.
If people haven't checked out Todd's ranting and raving page, you should check it out. There's some interesting dialogues that go on that. Excuse me, on that page.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I love a good, vigorous debate. What Scott is referring to is a Facebook group called Ranting and Raving. You can look it up. It's not an actual web page. All are welcome. We do have some great discussions about topics that are just pissing us off. We have a lot of fun there. It is fun, and we do mock one another incessantly sometimes, which just adds to the fun.
And the funny part is somebody can post something, and if you've been there long enough, and really, actually, you could probably do this after a week or two, you'll know what the regulars are going to post.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what certain people's reactions are going to be. And I'm thinking specifically of the post that you put up today about the 12-year-old being body slammed.
Oh, well, that one, I screw that. I posted that one right on my actual Facebook page because...
Oh, was that on your Facebook page?
Yeah, and I just didn't give a shit. I knew exactly how some people would react to it, and I just didn't remotely care, and it was fairly predictable how the discussion would go. I don't even, feel free, people, to go to my Facebook page and look for the post. I don't want to talk about it, on this show here. But to your point, Scott, it was fairly predictable how everyone would reply.
That ties in a little bit because when we talk about the cliffhangers and stuff, our group of people, you can pretty much gauge who's going to react in a certain way towards a cliffhanger and who's not. And I think one of the things that I've done specifically over the last couple of years is I used to have everybody who sent me a friend invite on Facebook, I would just friend them automatically and not think twice. And then I started seeing some really fucked up posts from people. And I thought, you know what? No. I'm not going to go through this. And the reason that I had started accepting everybody was I figured, as I write books and I have stuff out there to promote, the more people that I have, as friends, the better. But what I found out is Facebook isn't necessarily the best venue for me to promote my work. Twitter is a lot better than Facebook for me.
Oh, absolutely.
So I stopped. So I became a lot more discriminating about who I've become friends with. And I'll check their pages first, and I will look at what their likes are, what groups they belong to, the TV shows they like. I make sure that there's not going to be anything fucked up coming up on my page because I just don't want to have to deal with it.
Yeah. Over time. Go ahead.
And that's, regardless of whether it's politics or TV shows or movies or whatever. I just, if you have a fucked up opinion and you keep posting the same fucked up stuff, I'm just not going to deal with it. I don't have the time or the patience anymore. I'm a cranky old man.
Yeah, well, as I said before, I have made liberal use of the hide post, unfollow, and unfriend options because, again, I love a good, vigorous debate. I do not shy away from controversial topics. I'm an open book. I speak my mind freely. I don't pull punches. Having said that, it does get tiresome after a while. I refuse to talk about Donald Trump anymore. I just can't. In fact, when I posted today, I said, or I don't even remember if it was this morning or yesterday or whatever, posted something about Bernie Sanders, and that'll be it for a while. Just because I want this election cycle to just be over.
Yeah.
Because I can't deal with it anymore. I love having a conversation about politics. Last time around, discussing Obama's reelection chances and stuff, it was a lot more interesting than this time around, where it's more, well, if you're voting for Donald Trump, unfriend me because I can't be friends with you. That's where we are. So, like you, I just don't want to deal with it.
No, and the thing is, these are our pages. That's my Facebook page, and you may say, well, you're trying to censor my opinion. No, it's my fucking page. You have your own page. Put your shit on your page. Keep it off of mine.
Yeah,
it's like, don't let your dog shit on my lawn when you've got your own lawn. Let him shit on your yard.
Yeah, and I very rarely, if ever, delete a comment. When I post something on my page, I have every expectation that people will react to it. Otherwise, I would never post anything. But if you're going to post something just completely outrageous, or completely offensive to people, or you're going to start, name calling or whatever, I'll just delete the comment. I don't care. And people are like, oh, censorship. I'm like, yeah. This is not a museum. This is not a government building. I'll censor whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. My playground, my rules.
Thank you. And I'm very selfish about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, just real quick, I realize we're going to run out of time soon, but there's another article about this Walking Dead finale. To give full credit, this comes from bloodydisgusting.com. And it's an article about the finale. And one of the lines in it says, but 2016 is about immediacy, and there are select Walking Dead fans who are stomping their feet like little children who are not getting the action figure they want at the toy store. I like that one.
That's good. I like Bloody Disgusting. And in fact, I'm friends with somebody who writes for them, and I'm trying to get them on the show soon.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And
nice.
So we can lower our blood pressure a little bit.
Okay.
And kind of decompress from the last 55 minutes. You've made a couple of posts about the Texas Frightmare.
Yeah.
So, and let's be clear, you have no attachment to it. You went to it for the first time last year, I think, right?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And you had a great time there, and I've seen you post about it. So, what is it about the Texas Frightmare that makes it so much better than other conventions?
Just the way it's run, the staff are all helpful and courteous, and everybody has all the information. I've gone to a lot of conventions where nobody seems to know what's going on. Texas Frightmare Weekend actually has an honest to God help desk where it's a couple of people sitting there, and you walk up, whatever question you have, they'll get you the answer. And two, the entire staff, even down to the hotel staff, is into it. When I went to check into the hotel last year, the girl checking me in behind the counter had full-blown zombie makeup on. And the hostess at the restaurant was dressed like Carrie with the bloody prom dress and everything. I was like, this is fucking awesome. They get it. Like, they embrace the culture. I've been to some conventions where the hotel staff clearly has no idea what they've gotten themselves into. Yeah. And they have open disdain. Like, people walk into the bar or the restaurant in costume, and like they're getting dirty looks, and it's clear that the wait staff doesn't really want to deal with them. Not in Texas Frightmare is the complete opposite. I genuinely like the convention. The only negative, and I want to make it clear, this is not a reflection of Texas Frightmare Weekend staff, in any way. what I like about the show is that they post up front as many of the autograph and photo op prices as they can before you go, so it helps you budget. So I know going in, oh wow, these are the prices for the autographs, and I can budget accordingly. The downside is some of the actual prices that people are charging for their autograph and photo op. We could do a whole show about this. It's really depressing. I get that conventions are big business and people can make a lot of money. And I don't begrudge anybody the right to make $1. This is America. But, not to call out, I don't want to pick on anybody in particular, but there's one particular guest I would really love, but their autograph is $50, and you have to buy the autograph ticket in advance. And they make it very clear, there are no table pictures allowed. You have to get the professional photo op for $75.
Wow.
So an autograph and photo op for this one person would set me back $125. I can't. I just can't. Like, there were times when, that combo would cost me $20, and it's not that long ago. But that's for another show, I think.
Yeah, but it reminds me of something that you had mentioned about I think it was the Philadelphia Comic-Con, where they were having a Captain America VIP package, which was close to like $1,000.
Yeah, there are some conventions now that feature some of the popular stars from shows like Arrow and The Flash. That are, it's just astonishing that they have quote unquote platinum packages for $1,400. And again, it's up to all of us to decide where we want to spend our hard-earned money. But what I don't like is I know what the conventions are doing. They're saying, look, you can buy a regular ticket and get here early and stand online and hope that you get an autograph from your favorite guest.
Yep.
But if you're willing to pay for this high-end package, we will guarantee you that you'll go to the front of the line and you will get that autograph. And that just fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Like, I'm willing to take my chances. And if I want to get up at 3 a.m. and go to the venue and camp my ass online, then that's what I'll do. Because that's on me.
Sure.
That's my decision if I want to meet that person badly enough. But $1,400 for a convention ticket? Are on what planet? So I get to meet, Stephen Amell from Arrow. Like, all right. And it's not really going to change my life to the tune of $1,400.
No, not at all.
So there you go.
Well, and for the Walking Dead fans who really insist on knowing who it was that was killed, Norman Reedus is generally at every fucking convention during the summer that you could possibly imagine. So go to a convention, get a ticket to get his autograph, and ask him. How's that for tying everything together?
I like it. I like it. By the way, the privilege of doing that will only cost you about $200.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Do they give you a reach around with that?
Unfortunately, no. They didn't even lube me up first. I mean,
well, that would have been extra.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on that note,
if you like the Imaginarium, and after that, why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Go ahead and rate us and leave us a review on iTunes, and check out the other stuff that we've got on the Supernauts website at supernauts.com. And until next time, may all of your journeys be filled with pure imagination.